I think that we start with Outcrop. We're talking about high-grade primary silver projects, which are very few in the world. We've come out with our maiden resource. It proves the thesis that this is a real resource and it's in a corridor, so we have lots of room to continue to expand. So that's the overall vision. Primary silver, very high grade, and lots of space to continue to grow and create value for our shareholders. You know, we've also done a recent acquisition, and we're always looking for assets where they have very nil to none holding costs. So that describes the overall package in Colombia. While we pick away at them little by little, maintain strong social relationships, building our relationships, building political will within Colombia, right? The complete focus of the company right now is Santa Ana. So I think that is what's most important takeaway. We're not even trying to get things moving or kick-started. It's more of maintain, grow slowly, be ready, and be very cognizant of where market is going, right? Not right now is not the time to be spinning off, but maybe in 6 months, it is the time, right? That's where we can really create value. But right now, all the attention is on Santa Ana because we have an excellent, easy pathway of creating value for our shareholders. So no need to diversify at this time. So I am a mining engineer. So I have a different perspective and I look at projects differently. I've got 25 years working in the industry and 7 of my last years in Colombia, including living in Colombia for the last 2 years. So the first is I am bought into the endowment and the direction overall that Colombia is going. I get an inside view and see how things are developed. I worked previously in Venezuela, Ecuador, Bolivia, Chile, Argentina. I've seen how these things evolve. Okay. The second piece was, obviously I knew the team very well. Today we even share the same office, right? We were sharing the same office. It was a good time to step over, but also because Joe, the previous CEO, did an amazing job demonstrating to market that this project is real. Really focusing on 7 of the main veins, developing the resource estimate. So now it's my area where it's a systematic approach for taking this thesis and this knowledge that's already been prepared, but executing on increasing the overall resource and doing smaller things to de-risk it in parallel with the project development, whether that's environmental work or such as metallurgical work that we've done and actually put out recently demonstrating the amazing numbers of flotation-only recoveries and also non-acid generating tails, which is a huge de-risk from an environmental perspective. All these little pieces, managing, growing out the resources in leaps and bounds really, and maintaining the focus on a slow project development. But this is the type of project that has the potential to become a future mine. That's my number one criteria, right? Is I want to make sure I'm involved with projects that have the potential to become future mines. I think it was, one more time, I mean, it's obviously a relationship that I've had for multiple years. It's not like something that came out of the blue, right? But coming up with that initial resource estimate was huge. 60% was in the indicated category because it's hard to get your head around for many people. High grade silver resources, it's just a nugget effect, or these, I mean, when you start seeing kilos per ton type numbers coming up over and over, that Joe was able to demonstrate that this hangs together along strike and at depth, okay, over multiple veins, not just a single vein. We have about 7 different veins that have contributed to the overall resource number, right? It's to say this is the real deal, right? The major exploration geological work is now done, right? It's now about resource expansion and having a different focus. So getting that resource estimate done was kind of a key, perfect handoff. So again, the big focus now is the expansion of the overall resource. So it's not just adding a couple more ounces here or there or going a little bit deeper on some of the areas we have another 20 plus veins that are new targets that have where we have them mapped. We have a serious sampling done that proves that they're legitimate, and now it's about focusing on adding those on. So we're actually focusing on drilling, on adding new resources, because the overall potential is only on about 20% of the project on a couple veins. We've got another 20 more that have been mapped to date. It's about executing. So we are currently drilling. We'll be drilling from now until the end of the year. We've been focusing on some of these newer targets. So we expect, starting by the end of the month, putting out this news and generating this news of, I think it's very exciting that it's not, oh no, another drill hole into the same vein. These are new areas that could be adding significant amount of ounces to the overall resource. So I alluded to it a little bit. I got over 15 years living in South America, whether it was Venezuela or Ecuador or Bolivia, and now, so it's kind of watched this play out before. One of my backgrounds was I was Senior Vice President of Corriente Resources. And took the Mirador project all the way through to the start of construction and went on to be the first large-scale mining operation in the history of Ecuador. And that was in a time where it was much worse, like mining was suspended across the entire country. So I've kind of seen this thing before. And that is really where you see the real opportunities, right? Yes, it's a new president who's, believe it or not, highly focused on mining, but mining that is focused on the energy transition, right? And one of the great things about the president, he loves photocell. He loves solar panels, right? And would like to see how Colombia could get into the solar power production. What a great asset to have one of the few high-grade primary silver projects in your country. So I think that's where people are missing a lot. It's a lot of noise, but when we look at it, there's some significant legs for silver and other metals that are used in the energy transition. And on top of that, we have a team that knows how to navigate these types of environments, right? And again, I like living in country. I get really into these small little details in the relationship. In my opinion, the big work to do is creating amazing relationships locally, maintaining a strong reputation nationally, and that is what drives political will over a long period of time. That's what makes great projects into future mines. Santa Ana is not going to be a mine tomorrow, but it does have the potential to become a future mine, and we're taking care of it like it has the potential to become a future mine. I do believe it was a big oversight, not kind of trying to vocalize what was going on. And I think probably the biggest mistake is when you hear merger, right, you assume it's the combination of two companies of similar or equal size, right? But really this is a small tack on overall for Outcrop to acquire 4 different wonderful assets, 2 of them primarily that we really like, that include historical resources, for example. But it was the opportunity to pick up some great assets for very little money, no real additional costs, right? No additional management. It's the same team can manage it. And there's right now, no plans to do any active work on those projects except for to maintain them as a small insurance policy, right? It's not that we don't believe in Colombia, but things can go sideways quickly in whatever jurisdiction. So it is nice to have that jurisdictional de-risking, right? With some excellent projects that are real projects where we think, best case, this market turns, things turn differently, and now we have a set of assets that individually are company builders, whether it's the additional assets in Colombia or the assets within the United States. So we believe that they also have the potential to create massive amount of value for a shareholder over time without changing the overall strategy of the company. I think what's most important is the overall summary. There's only really a handful, and it really is a handful, and probably one handful of companies out there that are primary silver projects with high-grade silver like the Santa Ana project. We're currently drilling, right? I think that the image of Colombia is only going to get better at time, right? Because the truth is Colombia needs these types of projects to move forward and the future economy of Colombia. And we also have a huge vision. We've proven this hangs together with a significant resource and not the ability to add 10, 20%, but to be doubling and tripling the overall resource size. We have a pathway to get there and we're executing on it. And I think that is what's most important. We have a clear pathway of creating value for our shareholders, and it's going to be significant over time.